went to an all-boys grammar school in Plymouth. It wasn't a religious school, but they said the Lord's Prayer every assembly, so it was quite difficult. I had to go out of the assembly during the Lord's Prayer, which when I was 11 meant I had to stand up and walk out in front of the whole school. So a lot of people thought I was very different and didn't understand what a Jewish person was because I didn't really know anybody who was Jewish. If I ever did anything wrong or annoyed another pupil, they'd always pick on me for being Jewish. It wasn't because they were anti-Semitic, it's just because I was different. It wasn't necessarily an easy upbringing. I wasn't allowed to play football on Saturday mornings and I always felt different, and in a way, Judaism when I was growing up meant what I wasn't allowed to do. I went to Leeds University. People said to me, like, how did you go to Leeds and not know anybody Jewish? And I seemed to be able to do that.
I went to an all-girls private Church of England school where every single morning we had assembly where we had to sing hymns and then we said a prayer to Jesus. I remember aged about 9, the teacher in religious studies saying, who is Jewish, raise your hand. And I just was like, oh, why did you raise your hand? And then a couple years later, somebody sort of accusing me of being Jewish. Oh, you're Jewish, aren't you? And I was like, no.
So I lived in Leeds for about 10 years. I stayed after university, and during the whole time, my friends were really my uni friends or my new work friends, none of whom were Jewish. So I didn't really connect with any Jewish community while I was living in Leeds.
I was this little rock chick. I guess I was like quite alternative, but at the same time I had this like draw and this yearning.
I always knew I was Jewish and felt Jewish, but I didn't really know what it meant to be Jewish.
I went to the University of Lampeter in Wales. I was still like this kind of party girl, very high achieving academically, but at the same time I would go into class really hungover with like kind of yesterday's makeup on. And then when I left university, I was very confused. I think there was a lot of chaos, and I know my family were quite worried about me really. I was quite unhappy. I wasn't depressed, I was just really lost.
Still really hadn't connected to Judaism in the 5 years I've been in London, and then somebody mentioned to me about going to a gala dinner last year for the Jerry Lee.
And I went up to him and gave him a big hello, as I like to do, and said hi, and I could tell he was just that bit nervous. It wasn't so natural for him to be in that environment. I tried to make him as comfortable as possible, but I could tell that this really wasn't such a comfortable place for him.
Rabbi Dov has really been a great mentor to me. Whenever I've had questions, I've been able to go to him. Whenever I've had challenges in my life, I've been able to go to him, and he's helped me out greatly. My first J-League trip was a J-Life trip to Barcelona, and it was actually my first Jewish trip. I'd never been on tour or birthright. I was actually a bit reticent to go because I didn't really know anybody and I was really having quite a tough time at work. To be honest, it was probably a trip that really changed my experience with both the J-League and with Judaism. One of the most amazing moments was we went to a 1,000-year-old synagogue and we had a Shabbat experience there. One of the most memorable experiences of my life.
The first trip I did with Adam was to Barcelona. The watershed was on the flight back. We were sitting next to each other. Adam turned to me at some point and he said, I've never had a rabbi before, I've never had a relationship with a rabbi, I've never spoken to a rabbi. Is it okay for me to talk to you about my personal life? We spent the whole journey from Barcelona to London talking, chatting about everything.
When Adam first arrived at the JLE, he felt a bit awkward with everybody. He was a bit more shy. He held himself back a lot. And within a few months, he was much more relaxed, had made a lot of good friends. He was in a place where you feel like he felt comfortable.
I'd never been to Israel and I'd wanted to go, but I hadn't managed. So I decided I'm gonna go on birthright. Right before I went on birthright, my grandpa passed away and I was really close to him. And then we went to the hotel and I really felt my grandpa there with me and I knew how much he had loved Israel. I just got this feeling of I just needed to know more. There was something missing from my life, but there was still this thing of I want more, I don't know where to go. And one of the girls on the trip said to me, what you need to do is go to JLE.
When I first met Jo, I was quite new in the job at the time, and there was something about her that made me feel, this girl, there's something different about her, and there's somewhere where she's going to go, and I'd love to be a part of that journey.
One of the best things about the J-League for me is the fact you're not just going to a course or going to a lecture, you're just part of the J-League community. It's not just about learning and developing yourself, it's about how to take that learning and how to inspire and motivate and develop other people. I think that's really one of the best things I've learned from the J-League.
What What amazed me about going to JLE was how welcoming everybody was. The first person who played such a big part in my Jewish journey was Batsheva Dominitz.
So Jo had a strong drive to experience and to understand and just to discover her Judaism. It was almost like a thirst, and she kept coming back for more. You know, sometimes I facilitate more in some situations, sometimes less, but in Jo's instance, I just felt she came to me and all I could do was, I was lucky to be part of that process.
One thing about me that wasn't really known, and that was this non-Jewish boyfriend who, you know, we wanted to get married. We'd been together for quite some time. So I had been falling more in love with Torah Judaism for about a year. And the thing that was holding me back was like, well, if I'm in this relationship where I want to marry this guy and he's not Jewish, I can't be all of those things. And then one day he said to me, I want to convert. It was just like this really exciting time in my life where everything was just going. I'd started working for a Jewish organisation. I was living in Golders Green. I was going to JLE. Against all the odds, really, that this kind of rebellious little rock chick with a non-Jewish boyfriend, actually, this is what I wanted. This is the only thing for me. I just wanted to live this life of Torah and I loved it. So yeah, we were just so excited. He was gonna finish converting and we were gonna have this amazing Jewish wedding. And then one day he said to me, you know, I've really been thinking, I can't do this. I can't complete my conversion. I can't be Jewish. I'm not Jewish. And without any hesitation, I was like, we can't be together.
Jo came to me after the relationship had broken down, and she said, you know, I'm looking to take my life in the next steps, and how can you help me do that? One day, one of my colleagues in Israel gave me a call and said, what superstar girls do you have? I've got a superstar guy. And the person that immediately sprung to mind was Jo.
And he came from Israel and we ended up dating, and we got engaged after 2.5 months.
On the 16th of August of this year, Jo finally had that Jewish wedding that she'd always dreamed of.
It is hard to describe JLE in one word. When I think about the JLE, I think about family and happiness, and I think of the warm, welcoming feeling when you walk in, and I think of all the people that have come together and discovered themselves here at the JLE, and that gives an amazing energy to the place and an energy to anybody who walks in and wants to become part of that.
Thank you not only for bringing me to where I am and to helping me, but thank you for so many other people.
The JLE actually began through running Friday night programs and Shabbat programs. But I think back at the tens, hundreds, thousands of young people who participated in Friday night meals, you stop and realize what an extraordinary impact that has had. The JLE is an extraordinary opportunity to meet Jews from all over the world, various backgrounds, and it's a great place to learn what it means to be a Jew in the 21st century.